What's up? What's up? So tonight you're in the man cave with the warrior metaphysic. Thank you for tuning back in if this is not your first time. So, if you remember the other video that I did about ghost stories, spiritual encounters, I mentioned the stories from grandmothers. Like I said, older people tend to tell the scariest stories, man. I remember when I was young, my great grandmother used to have us sitting all around when we would visit, and she lived in rural Georgia, deep in the woods, and would tell us these stories, and nobody was going outside that night by themselves. So I came across this story, or this lovely grandma telling stories, scary as hell, on TikTok, y'all. So let's take this ride right now and listen to what she got to say.
Hey y'all, so this is my godmother whom I always talk about. Mama, tell me a story about when people used to die in your day.
You talking about when I was a little girl, and they would come to the house and sit there. They would come to the house and they would put them chairs out there around that cooling board. When I
Notice she said they would sit the chairs around a cooling board. And I'm sure most people know what a cooling board is. But if you don't, a cooling board is that metal table that you're laid out on in the mortuary before they embalm you. So that's what a cooling board is, just for those who didn't know. Let's go.
was a little girl, and they would lay the people on the cooling board because we didn't have no embalming like y'all got now. And I'll never forget. We was all sitting around, the old people were sitting around the cooling board, and they would sit around there till sundown, and then they would go home. And they would wrap the body up, and they'd take the body in the house if they didn't have an undertaker to pick it up. So we children was just running all around the yard, and they sitting around the body. And Miss Esther, she was a big lady, but her dresses was always too little. And so, but she liked to wear the flare dresses. And so she walked by, and she had seen the body, and she walked by, and she was looking for a chair, and her dress tail caught on to the foot of the man that was laying on the cooling board, causing him to stand up. And when he stood up, the people got hurt because they fell all over them chairs trying to get up out of there. And the children was running and hollering, and the old people was running and hollering, and it was just a mess. Now see, we didn't have all these fancy things like y'all had a coffin then. We didn't have it, and we had to wait with the folks on that. If we didn't have a cooling bowl, we put them on a door. You know, just a plain old everyday wood door. And that man stood up and church was out. And then when another incident,
Ooh, man, that sounds crazy to death. So, when you're thinking about these stories from back in the day, it's like, all right, so was he really gone? Or was it just one of those situations where, you know how some people, they go into deep comas, they go into deep sleep. So some people think they are, and that's why he woke up, because he wasn't really gone? Or do you think that was something else? But man, it's something that's so authentic about these older people telling these stories. I mean, I would have no reason to think this lady is lying or making this up. What about you? Let's continue.
don't remember how old I was, but I still was wearing flax in my hair, so I had to be young. And my girlfriend, daddy, he was scared of dead folk. So, but he liked to play checkers. And the men at the funeral home down the street played checkers. We didn't have ambulances like y'all got now. The hoods go pick up people and take them to the funeral home, or they take them to the hospital. But it was two old men what stayed there and worked at the funeral home. Well, my girlfriend, daddy, he hardly ever went down there, but he just had a yearning to play some checkers. So he go down there and he say, y'all want to play some checkers? He said, yeah. He said, man said, well, y'all got any dead folk? He said, yeah, we got one back there, but, he ain't to bother nobody. He said, so we could go on and play some checkers. So they was just playing checkers, playing checkers. And back then, we didn't have no air conditioner. You had the breeze from outside, so you had a screen door so the wind could get in, and you hooked the screen door. So they was all playing checkers, and they got a phone call telling them they had a body to go pick up. So they told him, my girlfriend, daddy, said, you stay here. It's going to be all right because we're going to be right back. He said, but we don't, the children, when we out of here, the children pick the screen door hook up and they run through here and they play and they throw things and they do things. He said, so I want you to stay here and keep the children from coming in here. So he said, well, ain't nothing going to happen, is it? He said, no, because we going to pick up the man. And the man back there, he cold, okay? But the man back there wasn't dead. See, a lot of people back then got buried alive. So he wasn't dead. He was in a coma. And he was laying back there on that. They was getting ready to embalm him. He was laying on the slab in the back. Well, my girlfriend and daddy hooked the screen door to keep the children from running in there. And he sitting at the table where he praying checkers. So about 2 days later, we go back to the house. And his face is all tore up. And everybody trying to figure out why his face tore up. And he had a scratch right here. Well, the screen door got a little piece of wood would go across the middle, and then one little strip over the top and one little strip under the bottom. That was for decoration, see. And so my girlfriend and daddy was sitting in the funeral home, and the man come walking out the back. And he forgot the screen door was hooked. Mm-hmm. And when he busted through that door,
right,
it just tore up his face. And it was just mold that.
It wouldn't have mattered if that screen door was hooked or not. I wasn't even about to waste no time unhooking it as I blow on up out of there.
We, as children, we was going to visit. They had more company that week than they had in their whole life. But we wanted to see his face. He come out of there, and he just was, looked like dogs had been scratching, and cats had been scratching his face, baby. He was tore up from the floor up. Yes, he was. And then I remember, you don't want me to tell all these stories, do you?
Yes, we do.
Sure, I sure do.
So you always making a fool out of me. And why are you holding this thing in my face? And I'm sitting up here looking like a swamp coon.
Because I want you to tell the people these stories.
Let me see, child. And then I had a friend, and he was always crazy. See, we used to get along as children. We didn't act like, we didn't do so many ugly things to one another like y'all do. We told him, he said, I want to be a mortician. Well, that sounded like you was going to be somebody important. We didn't know what no mortician was. He kept saying he wanted to be a mortician. So he went to the funeral homes in our neighborhood, and they wouldn't fool with him because he was a child. He wanted to be a mortician. So then he went downtown to one of them big old funeral homes and told the people that he wanted to be a mortician and could he come there and work. And they told him, we don't hire kids. We don't hire no children in here. And he said, but I'm just going to do it for free because I want to learn everything I can about being a mortician. So they said, okay. So when he was supposed, he had to catch 3 buses and then transfer to get to that funeral home. So when he got there, he was tired. You know what I'm saying? Because he had to start out early to get there. So he got there, he was tired, and I guess his reflexes, his mind wasn't on. He was going in a funeral home. So he go in, and the men that worked there told him, said, boy, come here today. And as soon as we see him walking from the bus stop, he said, I want you to get in the coffin. He said, and when he come in to get you sit in the coffin, I want you to raise up. I don't even need to go no further. Because he outrun all them buses that he was supposed to catch.
Right.
He run out, he cleaned outrun all the buses that he was supposed to catch back home. Now, he asked me, you want to be a mortician? Yes, sir. That man sat up in that coffin, and that boy took out and come back in. You see.
And I always think you have to be a special type of individual to work in the mortuary anyway. Not to say that anything's wrong with you, but you have to have what? Emotions of steel, balls of steel, I think morticians are just equipped with something different to be able to do that kind of work, man. I can't do it.
It's a lot of crazy things when I was a child with dead people. And why is you asking me about dead people today? I tell you, I know. You know.
Oh, and that uh fire smoke detector sound is not coming from me. Not trying to throw shade, but just let y'all know it's not coming from me.
You know, even when I was working as a nurse, I used to see people walking down the hall, and them people, I said, they just died last week. What they doing here? You know, that's the kind of things that I went through as a child. I don't know whether y'all have all kind of things like that. And then you sit up in the night. We didn't have no air conditioner. All we had was some fans. We had an attic fan, and we had them little Hunter hand fans, and that's all we had. We didn't have no black folks didn't have no air conditioner, and then we had that one bulb. So y'all got all them bulbs. We had one bulb hanging from a string down, got midways there, and then it had a string on it for you to pull. So, you know, you be sitting up there as kids, and the old people used to tell stories. And one night we were sitting up there, and I don't know how this happened, but I saw this hand go up, and I was trying to see who it belongs to. It don't belong to nobody in here, but they turned out the light. Okay, and I ain't never heard that much bumbling and stumbling in the house in all my life. And when the lights come back on, my grandmama turned the lights back on with nobody there but me and her. Yep.
Ooh.
Now I'm tired, girl.
Love it. So I just thought some of those stories was really cool, man. Thought y'all might have enjoyed that too. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want to hear more encounters like that told in this fashion. But I love a good ghost story. I love a good retelling of a paranormal encounter, you know, be it true or not. But it at least needs to sound authentic. But yeah, that was it. I hope y'all liked it. Shout out to Chrissy Cat 79 on TikTok for that one. And that was tonight's ghost story in the Metaphysic Man Cave. I'll see you in the next one. Drop a like. Peace. See you next time.